Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dear students, I hope that you're all fine. I welcome you back with a new lesson of your textbook, which is a story, The Servant, written by S.T. Semenov. Now, before moving to story, let me tell you that S.T. Semenov was a Russian writer and most of his writing is concerned with and is related to peasantry class in Russia. Are you getting me? It means that in his short stories he highlights the problems, the drastic life, different hurdles, and unsatisfactory life lived by the peasantry class in Russia. And when we talk about this lesson, this story, The Servant, this story is also about a peasant boy whose name is Gerasim. Okay? Now, Gerasim is a peasant boy and he lives in Russia. It means, who is Gerasim? A Russian village boy. Okay? And he is a peasant. Now, through the character of Gerasim, the writer Semyonov, he wants to highlight the problems faced by peasants in Russia. That is what happened later in Russia in 1917. Remember the date. In 1917, an important event took place in Russia, that was peasantry revolt. Okay? Peasantry revolt of 1917. Why so? Because the peasantry class in Russia, they used to work day and night in the fields of landlords, of nobles, and they would just get the little amount of the hard work, and we can say that they faced discrimination. Okay? Now, when peasants found that they do not get enough for their hard work and they face all the problems, even though they have the maximum hand, they play the vital role to get the produce of the fields, but at the same time they are not given their due share. So that's why in 1917 a revolt took place, that was peasantry revolt. Okay? So this peasantry class in Russia, they demanded their rights. Now, let's come back to our story, The Servant. As I told you that the central character, the main character of the story is Gerasim. Who is Gerasim? A Russian village boy. Okay? The second important character is Yegor, and Yegor is a man from Gerasim's village. Remember, he is also a man from Gerasim's village, and Yegor is a coachman. Are you getting me? He is a coachman. He is a coachman to whom? Shirov. Now, Shirov is a merchant. Shirov is a merchant. Now, here is a contrast. Shirov is merchant. Are you getting me? But Yegor and Gerasim, they are peasants. We will see that on one side there are Gerasim and Yegor. On the other side there is Shirov. Are you getting me? So peasants versus merchants. Are you getting me? So before wasting our time, let us move to our story. As you can find that the story is written in parts. It is written in 4 parts or 4 sections, and we shall deal with first 2 sections of the story. So our main character Gerasim, who is a Russian village boy, unfortunately, he has been a peasant boy, and his life is going to be very tough. That is why, since his childhood, he takes several odd jobs. Such as he works at different places. He works as a servant, and he works as a bottle washer. Are you getting me? After doing these odd jobs, he works with a merchant. For 2 years. So being servant, being a bottle washer, these are all odd jobs. But Gerasim has no other way out. He has to accept these jobs anyhow, or he has to be hungry. Are you getting me? So after taking these odd jobs, he plans to work with a merchant, and he does the same thing. He works with a merchant for 2 years. Again, he faces another unfortunate situation. And what is that? As he was a village boy, born in Russia, he always hated village life. So what did he do? He spent most of his time in Moscow. Are you getting me? Now, being a boy who spent most of his boyhood in Moscow, he got attracted to the city life. Are you getting me? That's why he began to hate village life. Now, when he was working as with a merchant for 2 years in Moscow, he was called back to his village, to his peasantry background, in order to join military. Are you getting me? Now he was called back to his village in order to join military. But unfortunately, he was not selected. He did not get selected for military purposes. Are you getting me? Now, he was very sad by knowing that he could not get a job in military. So, he planned to go back to Moscow and get his job back. But unfortunately, when he went to the same merchant where he was working, his job was taken by another person. Are you getting me? It means that now Gerasim lost his job from the merchant. Now he became very sad. He became very distressed. What to do next? Okay. Although he tried his best to go back to his previous master, but when he knew that the gap has already been filled, unfortunately, he had to go without food for a whole day. It means that he had to remain hungry for days because he was out of job. So finally, what happens? Let us see. So one day, Gerasim, he remembers that he has another person whom he knows, and the person is from his native village, and the name of the person is, as I told you before, Igor. Okay? So he went to this person. He went to Igor for the help to get some job. When he went to Igor to get the job, he found that Igor is himself a coachman. He is a coachman to a merchant, to a rich merchant. Are you getting me? So he tried to convince his friend to help him in order to get some job. On the other side, Igor started lecturing him. He started advising him. He started advising Gerasim that, Gerasim, you should always work hard under your master. You should be always faithful, loyal, sincere, humble to your master. Are you getting me? There was one quality of Igor. He was having glib tongue. He was having oily tongue. He always used to flatter his master. खुशामद करता था अपने मास्टर की, ठीक है, गलत तारीफें करता था in order to trap him. Now he was having this glib tongue. He used to praise people to just trap them. So when Gerasim told him so, to help him by using his glib tongue, Igor, on the other side, he started lecturing him, advising him to be faithful so that he may not lose his job again. Finally, Igor, he realizes the problem of Gerasim and he promises Gerasim to get him a job, to do something for him. Now, by saying so, Igor left. Another important character from the story is an old man whose name is Polycopech. This Polycopech is an old man. An old man. Although being old, he is a servant. He is a servant, and servant to Shrow. Are you getting me? Polycopech is servant of Shrow, but he is very old. Now, what did Igor do? Now, Igor planned as he was having a glib tongue. He planned that he will convince his master, Shrow. He will tell him that now Polycopech is an old man. He does not fulfill his job faithfully because he is now weak. He has become lazy due to his old age. So he will just replace Polycopech with his friend Gerasim. It means that now he plans to replace Polycopech, who is a servant to Shrow, with his friend Gerasim. Are you getting me? And here is the U-turn of the story. Now, inshallah, in the next lecture, we shall find that does Gerasim accept to replace Polycopech? Why and why not? Are you getting me? Now, I will see you in the next lecture. Till then, take care and fi amanillah.